That's why I never did steroids. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Revelia from ProPhysique.com, and this week's video is going to be on a topic that's something I really never talk about, but yet it's a huge part of the bodybuilding and fitness community, and really just, I would say it's a part of the discussion of anything performance related these days, with the use of doping in sports, and that's steroids. And what I wanted to discuss was the 4 specific reasons that make up why I never chose to use steroids. I'm definitely not opposed to them ethically at all, and there may come a point in my life when I feel they will benefit me. But as far as from the perspective of a bodybuilder, athlete, I'll never do it for that. If I ever use them, it will be more for improving quality of life situation. So I figured I would do a video on the topic, just to put my thoughts out there, because I get asked this question quite a bit. And I get accused, I think jokingly mostly in my videos or YouTube or Instagram, of doing steroids. But I don't think anyone who's ever met me would confuse me with someone who's done steroids. I don't think I carry that type of muscle mass. And I'm a huge fan of the sport of bodybuilding, natural or otherwise. I grew up buying Flex and Muscle magazines, and I still love going to watch a good bodybuilding show, and what those guys put themselves through. The top bodybuilders in the world, man, it still amazes me, and it's still a sight to behold. But it's just not something I chose to ever do. So I figured I'd discuss those reasons. I'll do 4 reasons why I've never done steroids. And I'll start with number 4, and I'll move down to the number 1 reason why I never did them. Early on in my lifting career, I want to say my senior year of high school, I was benching under 200 pounds. And I still remember I had a weightlifting class, and going in, it was a competition. Who could lift this? Who could lift that? And I was on the baseball team, and I can remember this as vividly as like it was yesterday. And this was literally 20 something years ago. I was in the dugout on the baseball field, and people were talking about how much people benched. And someone brought up a name, and they said, yeah, I heard he benched 250 pounds today. And I thought, wow, that's, 250 pounds when I was a senior in high school, that might as well have been like 500 pounds now. I mean, not too many people were benching over 200 pounds. A couple were. The biggest football players were in the 300 club. But at 17, 18 years old, that's perfectly normal. But so when this was brought up, someone said, wow, he benched 250 pounds, and I thought, golly, that is a lot of weight, that's awesome. And he wasn't a bigger guy. He was muscular, but he definitely wasn't like someone you would think could lift well over his body weight. And the next sentence out of someone's mouth was, yeah, but he's using steroids. And that was the first time that I had ever come across the term, and I was in high school, and my immediate thought at that time was, that's cheating. I didn't know anything about steroids at that time, but the connotation was, when you were young, if you were accomplishing something while using steroids, your accomplishments were tainted. And for whatever reason, I can remember the switch flipping in my head. I was like, I'm going to lift that much weight without ever using steroids. And that way it won't be cheating. Now, to be fair, I don't consider using steroids cheating. Unless you're competing in natural bodybuilding or drug-tested powerlifting, because there's an option for both. You don't have to compete tested. You have the option to do both. So I definitely don't consider it cheating, but it was more, something that just stuck in my mind that I wanted to get there through hard work. Another thing that I clearly remember about the people that use steroids at an early age was how much strength and muscle they would gain and lose. Literally look like different people every 6 months. And that never really appealed to me. The number 3 reason why I avoided them. So early on, I was pretty athletic. I played baseball and I actually got a scholarship to play in college. And steroids and performance enhancing drugs at that time were actually getting into the limelight, and so they were actually banned by the NCAA where I played baseball. So even some products with stimulants were banned. So at that point, I didn't do them because it was illegal. Now, there's ethics involved in what's legal, what's not legal. Ethically speaking, I still didn't have a problem with them. When I was that age, I still probably thought, if you're using them, you're cheating. But I'm sure there were people in college and people in, in baseball at that time that were using. And so it was something that, for me, morally speaking, the fact that they were illegal, so you had to break the law to use them, and then you could get banned from playing baseball or football or whatever your sport was in college because of using them. And I did get drug tested, I think 2 or 3 times in college. So it was something that happened. And I never wanted to have to make that phone call to my parents or explain to my friends that I had done something illegal and was no longer able to play baseball, or whatever the consequences would have been. Even, who knows, I got kicked out of college, So the number 3 reason why I never used steroids was basically they're not legal. You have to go around the legal system in the United States to use them without a doctor's prescription. No one's giving a doctor's prescription to someone who's healthy and young. So it just wasn't an issue for me. The number 2 reason why I didn't use steroids was the safety concerns. Now, a lot of truth has come to the light in the last couple of years. Chris Bell's movie, Bigger, Stronger, Faster, did a great job documenting steroids and their impact on, what's going on. But back when I was exposed to that lifestyle, or at least, I was aware of it, there was still a lot of confusion about what steroids do. That was after Lyle Alzado had come out and said steroids gave him brain cancer, which we now know not to be true. But there was still, a lot of misconceptions about, your balls or your dick shrinking, all these things, losing your hair, side effects that were being made very clear, almost like a scare tactic campaign against steroids. And for a good reason. I guess if you're not doing them properly, they can be dangerous. And, and another thing to consider, if you start adding hormones and changing the way your body operates, is that you better understand every aspect of that. And I certainly did not. And I certainly don't even to this day. It wouldn't be something I would be comfortable with. I'd have to learn a lot more about the topic. So I would have to understand what each product does, what each steroid is used for. You hear people that compete and they cycle this and they stack it with this and then they do this at the end of, all that's a science. And a lot of those contest prep coaches for those high-end IFBB pro bodybuilders, a lot of it's chemistry. They have to know when to use the steroids. So, my number 2 reason would just be safety, and I don't really understand it. So it's not something I'm interested in. And the number 1 reason why I've never used steroids. Since the beginning of my career of getting in the gym and lifting weights, since day 1, I've always been able to make progress. Now, granted, progress came a lot faster when I was younger. A lot faster. That first 6 months, years of lifting, everyone noticed a change. But what I found really rewarding was after 15 years of lifting weights, getting on stage competing, going through the whole process drug-free, and then waiting another couple of years and getting on stage again and seeing those differences. Is it visible to someone that just sees me in my street clothes? No, probably not. But it's visible to me, so I know I'm still making progress. Now, granted, would they be better progressions with steroids and hormones and all those things? Of course they would. But I don't need them. I don't need that satisfaction. I've always been happy with the physique I've been able to build and maintain. And another aspect of always making progress is that I always keep it. I've always managed to, as my physique has improved, I've managed to stay at that level. So I've never gone backwards as long as I've kept up with my diet and my training and keeping progress going. So the biggest reason for me is that I've always just made progress. I've always felt like my time in the gym was well spent. Sure, there were periods of time where I didn't make progress because I didn't understand periodization, I didn't understand nutrition, I didn't understand, how to make sure that I was getting stronger, adding more volume, that I was, eating properly. But part of this journey is about the self-education and looking things up, and it's not just about going in the gym and beating your head against the wall, lifting heavy weights every day. It's exploring different ideas, different training frequencies, figuring out ways to make your weak points better. So that would be the biggest reason for me. I've always been able to make pretty good progress that I'm happy with, and so I haven't ever felt the need, to get involved in that side of the sport. And I don't ever intend to. Like I said, in the future, the more and more that comes out about hormone therapy and stuff, and I'm 40 years old, who knows, maybe in my 60s or 70s there'll be a solution to improve quality of life. But at 40 years old, I feel the best I've ever felt, still getting stronger, still making progress, and I kind of wear it as a badge of honor now that I'm a drug-free bodybuilder. And like I said, it's not something that I'm going to boast about because I actually don't have any problem with those who decide to use. I don't walk around beating my chest that this is the only way to live. But at the same time, I am proud of what I've done, and I think it'll be a testament at 50, at 60, to get on a bodybuilding stage and be lifetime drug-free. So hopefully guys, you enjoy the video, and I'll share some pictures throughout this along the way. So you can just kind of get a sense of how things went for me. I graduated high school at 155 pounds at 6'2", 6'3". Now I walk around at 220 pounds. And so I've definitely put on some lean body mass, just going through the maturity process, just growing up. I remember it took me forever to get over 200 pounds. I think I was in my early 20s, maybe 23, 24, when I finally hit 200 pounds. And I've been as heavy as 250 pounds. In hopes of adding more lean body mass. But what I've learned is that no matter how much weight I gained, I always come back down to within a pound or two of what my stage weight was at that first show. Because my first show I was 32, so I've been training for a long time. So yeah, I understand now that I'm adding muscle by the ounce, by the gram, not by the pound. So it's a slower process, but at the same time, the muscle I'm adding is on top of what I've already built over the last 20-something years in the gym. So to me, it has more significance when I make a little bit of an improvement now. It's much more visually impactful. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be heading out tomorrow to California. Going to be visiting some friends, going to Barbell Brigade, going to Quest Nutrition, going to Gold's Gym. My friend Lauren Conlon, my comrade, she's coming with me. We're going to Los Angeles for 3 days, then we're driving out to Las Vegas for the USA Championships. So if anyone's going to be out there for any of that, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the YouTube comments, and I'd love to meet up, catch up. I've got some clients doing the show. Lauren is going to make sure that they're ready for stage with their posing, their presentation, and I'm going to make sure that they get on stage with their best chance to win. So we're looking forward to that little West Coast getaway. We'll be out there from Tuesday to Sunday. Tuesday to Thursday in Los Angeles, and then Thursday to Sunday in Las Vegas. So hope you guys are doing great. Have a great week ahead. And yeah, that's why I never did steroids. Thanks guys, and I hope you have a great Monday and a great week. Thank you.